Global Insight News.
All right, so you know how it is. You're super busy, but you still want to stay informed, right? You want to get the crucial details without wading through all the noise and endless news feeds and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what we do here. So today we're doing a deep dive on a story that's been making some headlines.
It definitely has.
The legal troubles of Sean Kingston.
Oh, yeah, the beautiful girl singer.
Exactly. Him and his mother, Janice Turner. To really get into this, we've been poring over an article from The Independent.
A good one.
It is. So our mission today is to understand what exactly are the charges against Sean Kingston and his mom. What evidence led to their conviction, and what are they looking at in terms of consequences?
Yeah, breaking it all down.
Yeah, your quick guide to this whole legal saga. Okay, so first off, the verdict, guilty.
Guilty indeed. Both Sean Kingston and Janice Turner, his mother, they were convicted on all 5 counts of wire fraud.
Wow, all 5?
All 5. This was after their arrest back in May of last year.
So 5 counts of wire fraud. That sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, it does.
So for those of us who might not be legal experts, what exactly is wire fraud in this context?
Right. So wire fraud basically boils down to using electronic communications like phones, the internet, email, that kind of thing,
Okay.
to carry out a scheme to defraud someone.
I see.
So in this case, it seems to be about alleged false claims made during financial transactions.
Gotcha. So what exactly was the scheme that they were accused of?
Well, at the heart of it, they allegedly used fake documents to get a whole bunch of luxury goods with no intention of ever actually paying for them.
Oh, wow.
And we're talking high-end stuff.
So what kind of stuff are we talking about here?
We're talking luxury cars, a ton of jewelry, other fancy items. The article mentions that the total value of this stuff is over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Wow.
And who are the victims of this alleged scheme?
Well, it looks like they targeted a whole range of businesses, car dealerships, a few different banks, and get this, even a mattress company.
A mattress company.
A mattress company.
Interesting. Now, Sean Kingston's mother, Janice Turner, she seems to have played a pretty key role here. What do they say about her part in all of this?
Right. Well, the judge in the case actually called her the fixer and the nerve center of the whole operation.
Oh, wow.
Which suggests she was really deeply involved.
And this isn't her first run-in with the law when it comes to finances, right?
Sadly, no. The article mentions that she was convicted of bank fraud back in 2006.
Oh, wow.
She served 18 months in prison for stealing over $160,000. So this isn't exactly uncharted territory for her.
You'd think that would make someone a little more careful.
You would think.
So what about Sean Kingston himself? How did he react when they took his mother into custody?
Well, The Independent actually cited a report from Local 10 News, and apparently it was a pretty emotional scene. Kingston was crying as they took his mother away, and he was even heard pleading with the U.S. Marshals to protect my mother.
Oh, wow. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. It's a very human reaction to such a stressful situation.
Absolutely. So facing these really serious charges,
Right.
what was Sean Kingston's defense?
Well, their argument basically boiled down to portraying Kingston as being very naive when it came to money.
Okay.
They even described him as a child in financial matters, saying that he didn't really understand the implications of his spending or the long-term consequences.
So basically saying that he wasn't intentionally committing fraud. He was just being irresponsible.
Right. It's an interesting contrast to his mother, who was painted as the mastermind.
Yeah, definitely. Now, this whole thing seems to have started with a civil lawsuit that predates the criminal charges, right?
Absolutely. That's a really important piece of this whole story. In February of last year, before the criminal investigation really got going, a company called Ver Entertainment, LLC, they filed a civil lawsuit against Sean Kingston.
So what were they suing him for?
Well, they alleged breach of contract and fraud, and this all stemmed from a pretty extravagant purchase that Kingston made. He bought this massive 232-inch TV and sound system for his home. It cost $111,000.
$111,000 for a TV.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious home theater setup.
That is, so what went wrong with this deal?
Well, according to the lawsuit, Kingston had promised to make some promotional videos for Ember Entertainment.
Okay.
And he said he'd get Justin Bieber in on it too.
Oh, wow.
The idea was that this promotion would basically offset the cost of the TV and sound system, but those videos never happened.
So an unfulfilled promise.
Right. And it's worth noting that the article makes it clear that Justin Bieber had nothing to do with any of this.
Gotcha. So it seems like that initial lawsuit about the TV, That's what really triggered a closer look into Kingston's finances.
Yeah, it seems that way. The allegations in that civil case probably caught the attention of law enforcement. And when they started digging deeper, they uncovered this pattern of similar alleged activity involving other businesses and even more money, which ultimately led to those wire fraud charges.
So beyond this mega TV, what else did the investigation reveal?
Oh, a lot. The investigation uncovered a long list of allegedly stolen goods and money. Well, for starters, there's nearly $500,000 in jewelry. Almost $500,000.
Wow.
On top of that, there's over $200,000 allegedly taken from Bank of America. And then there's $160,000 from a car dealer for a bulletproof Cadillac Escalade.
A bulletproof Escalade. That's some serious stuff. What else?
The list goes on. Over $100,000 from First Republic Bank. And then there's that $86,000 from the luxury bed company we mentioned earlier.
So basically, they were accused of using all kinds of deceptive tactics to get their hands on expensive things and a lot of cash.
It appears so.
And this all happened pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, the article says these alleged crimes took place between October 2023 and March 2024.
So less than a year.
Yeah, a really concentrated period of alleged fraud.
So how did the prosecution make their case in court? What was their main argument?
Well, they argued that both Kingston and Turner, they were basically enriching themselves unfairly through these schemes. They claimed that they would falsely say they had sent wire transfers as payment when they never actually sent the money.
So it was all about deception.
It seems that way.
So now that they've been found guilty, what happens to Sean Kingston?
Well, right now he's on home detention.
Okay.
And he's got some pretty hefty bond requirements, a $200,000 surety bond, and he has to put up a relative's house as part of the bond conditions. That house is valued at $500,000.
Wow. So what kind of penalties are they actually facing?
Both Sean Kingston and Janice Turner, they're looking at a maximum prison sentence of 20 years.
Yeah.
That's the max for federal wire fraud cases.
20 years. That's a huge chunk of time.
It is. Their sentencing hearing is scheduled for July 11th. That's when the judge will decide the actual sentences based on the conviction and other factors.
So to recap, we've got Sean Kingston, this famous singer, and his mother, Janice Turner, convicted of running a fraud scheme worth over $1 million. It affected all sorts of businesses, from car dealerships to a mattress company. It all started with a lawsuit over a giant TV, and now they could be facing decades in prison.
That's right. It's a pretty dramatic turn of events.
It really is. And it makes you think about the relationship between fame, financial responsibility, and the consequences of breaking the law.
Yeah.
This wasn't some small mistake. This was, according to the jury, a deliberate pattern of deception that hurt a lot of people.
It raises an interesting question for all of us listening.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, this case really highlights that no matter who you are, no matter how famous you are, the legal system applies to you.
Right.
There are real consequences for financial misconduct.
Absolutely. Sobering stuff, for sure.
It is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
You got it.
Definitely something to think about.